start about the storage bucket profile. Yes, sir. Today we will start about the storage bucket profile and planning area. These two we will discuss today. Okay, first we will go to the storage bucket profile. Go to the APO, demand planning, environment, and current setting. And here you can see prerequisite is for the planning area. /SAP APO TR32. This is the T code. If you double click here, it will come to the storage bucket profile. So I will give as ZAPO3. Like here, why we are creating the storage bucket profile and what is the purpose of this one? The first point is, this is the prerequisition for the creating of the planning area. If you want to create a planning area, the prerequisition is one is MPAS and another one is the storage bucket profile. And here we are defining how my data will be stored. Normally in the DP, how we are storing the data, like we are taking the monthly forecast and we are running the statistical forecast for the month. Like all the data we are considering in a month. So that is the reason I have selected a month option. And once I have generated the forecast, then I can compare my forecast with sales orders. Say for example, next week forecast values are 100. So if sales orders are 150, then I need to increase the 50 forecast. So like that, I want to compare with my sales orders with my forecast, then we can go for the weekly bucket. So there we will store into the weekly, we will see the data into the weekly level. So that is the reason I have selected the month and week. And here, if I select month and week, I can able to see the data at a high level, like a quarter, year. But I cannot see the data into the low level, day level.
Okay.
Normally this day level, we are preferably using in the S&P, not in the DP.
Okay.
And this is the posting period and the fiscal year periods. Say for example, if we are not using the natural calendar, it means like a natural calendar will start like a January 1st to January 31st 1 month. February 1st to February 28th second month. Like that, it will natural calendar. But other than natural calendar, if I am using the physical year variant, this is nothing but like a depends upon the company. It will define the physical year calendar. So, say for example, first 4 weeks as a 1 month, next 4 weeks as another month, and the next 5 weeks as another month. 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Again 4 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks. Like that they will maintain the calendar. Maybe that time if you start from the January 1st, maybe January 28th or something, it will come to the 28th or something, it will come the second month. Maybe February 17th and 18th will go for it will start the third month. Maybe third month will be over March 25th or something. Like that, based on the 4 weeks and 5 weeks, they will use the calendar. So if we are using that one for the planning, then we need to select this fiscal year variant. So normally,
For the fiscal year variant, we define it in another place. We don't define it away.
actually fiscal year periods we are defining into the R3, but we can
transfer from R3.
we can transfer from R3. So how we can transfer from R3? Go to the RSA1. In RSA1, go to the source system. Here in the source system, you can see the SAP source system. This is the ECC source system. In SAP, we can see the what is the source system of ECC. So this is the ECC source system. this is the APO system and inbuilt BW system. This is the SAP ECC source system. Here, right click and go to the transfer global setting. Here you can see physical air variance. So if you select this physical air variance, and here we have the options under the mode as a simulation, update and rebuild. Simulation is nothing but just like a testing. Really, it will not update the values. But if you select the update, what it will do, what is the difference between the ECC physical air period and the APO physical period, it will update it. And if you go to the rebuild, it will again create entire physical air variance in the APO system. So normally we used to select the update table. So if any difference, it will be updated. Actually here, there is no RFC connection between ECC and APO systems. If RFC connection is not there, it will not get the data from R3 to APO. But anyway, we will do in the ECC, we will do in the SIP time, this RFC connection. And we can check the connection also here. So here they have not maintained any connection. Okay, that's good. And in APO system, where we can see the physical air variance, go to the SPRO, IMG, and APO, and supply chain planning, demand planning, basic setting, and maintain physical air variance. Here you can see what are the existing physical air variance in the system. As of now, only one physical air period is there. So if you click on this one, if you double click here, it will show this physical air period. But actually, it is not properly created. Once R3 system we have configured, we have the RFC connection. I will ask them to give RFC connection. Then we will, I will extract from R3 to APO. And another case, for example, if there is no R3 system, and if you are connecting with any legacy system, then also you want to do the planning based on the physical air variant, then how can we maintain? That time,
we can create an SPR?
yes, exactly. That time, manually we need to create into the APO system. And how to create this physical air variance in APO system, I have a detailed document. I will forward you today. Normally, if we have the R3 system, you should not create manually in APO again. This is the document I will forward you. If you don't have R3 system, then only really we require. But really, without R3 system, normally nobody will not implement the APO system. So only the thing we need to get it from the global settings only. And
one more thing, Kanyan, RFC and SIF, RFC is nothing to do with us, right? I mean, basically does it, but it is just a connection, right? We don't do any settings for the RFC. SIF, we might do, but
no. Actually, RFC is nothing but like a remote function call, like a connecting the two systems.
okay.
That is the communication between the two systems. Actually, in the SIF, first we need to do these configurations. We need to create the RFC connection between ECC and APO. Then only the data will be read from R3 to APO and APO to R3.
Okay.
So that is the prerequisition for the SIF.
Yeah.
Like in SAP, if you want to connect any system to any system, we have to use this RFC technology. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like even.
But SIF, for SIF, do we do any connectivity settings?
Yes. We have to do the connectivity settings in the SIP also. In the fifth, we have to do the RFC connection. And another important point in the physical air periods, say for example, in the planning, we are using the physical air periods. We are doing the planning based on the physical air periods. So, for example, if you do any changes in the physical air period, it will impact the planning area data. Say for example, till 2012 ending, we are doing the planning. If I change the physical air period in 2012 March or April, so the planning data also will impact. Like for example, if I change the physical air periods in R3 and I updated the same values into the APO, then you will lose all your planning area data. So then, what is the process we need to follow? We have to take the backup of all the planning area data into the backup queue, and then we need to do this physical air period changes. Then your planning area data will be cleaned, so you will not have any data. Then again, we need to call the data from the backup cube to planning area. There is a standard SAP programs are there to get a data from cube to planning area. That is like a simple job only. So we can again extract the data from backup cube to planning area. If it is outside of planning buckets, if we change, it will not impact anything. So for example, if I change in the 2015 calendar, it will not impact anything. Whatever the time series, whatever the time series we have defined for the planning area. Anyway, now after this we will go for the time series only. So we are giving some range to planning area. So I will do the planning from this to this dates only. So if we change in that range, then only it will be impacted. If it is outside of that bucket, it will not be any impact. That is also important thing. So then we can give the origin, start date and end date. Here we will take some range. Like this is the planning range. But really we are not storing the data from here to here. Just we are giving one range only here. So till this range we can do the planning. And time stream ID. In the time stream ID, we have to create the working days and non-working days and what is the working hours, like everything. It's nothing but like a detail level calendar. So based on that, system will understand what is the working day and what is the non-working day. So this time stream ID creation, I will cover later sessions.
Okay.
So now,
generally, the finance or HR will be doing, right? Like calendar makes sense.
No, actually, this is also like a calendars also we are getting from R3 to APO. Based on that calendar, in the APO, we need to create this time stream ID.
Okay.
This is
we do it over here and
yes, this we have to do by ourselves only, functional consultants.
Okay. Yeah.
Because here we are creating a DP, like our APO calendar, so that might be if any holidays in APO, might be those are not in R3 also. So we can manually give a holiday here.
Okay.
So that is the another option there. So storage bucket profile, basically how you are storing your data, we are defining in the storage bucket profile.
Yeah.
Clear on this?
Yeah, that is clear. So I have a clear.
And
So we like thinking from which date to which date we want to do our planning.
yeah, actually what is the real planning we are doing, that dates we are defining to the planning area.
Okay.
So those dates should be below of this storage bucket profile.
Okay. Yeah.
Indirectly storage bucket profile dates are high level and the next is the planning area dates.
Yeah. So it will be short of 1 year or 2 years. That will be like 8 to 14
Yeah,
years.
that is only the real data will occupy to the system. Whatever we are defining for the planning area, those data only occupying the database. Here we are giving just eligibility, then like physically we are storing the data.
Okay.
and MPAS and MPAS and storage bucket profile are the prerequisites to the planning area. So now we will create a planning area. To create a planning area also, we have to follow the same process like a create a MPAS. Like both are the same menu path. Here you can go SAP menu, APO, demand planning, and MSDP admin. If you double click here, same thing. Yesterday, whatever we have seen the screen, same thing. Here we have the option to select a planning area or planning object structure. Now anyway, planning object structure we have already created. Now we are creating the planning area. The same rule, whatever the starts with the 9A, those are the standard SAP planning areas for DP and for SNP. For a DP and SNP planning area and MPAS, we will create at the same place. Now, to create our own planning area, right click on planning area folder. You will get an option create a planning area, create a time series object. Create a time series object is nothing but like a, once you have created our planning area, if you create a time series object, it will be activate our planning area. So first we will create a planning area, then we can go for the time series. So I am selecting here, create a planning area option. Here, name, I am giving as ZAPO3, and you can see MPAS, Master Planning Object Structure. So here we are connecting our MPAS to planning area. So our MPAS is ZAPO3. We will what is the M? Oh, we have created 01 now. So here also I will create a 01. Here also I will take 01. Storage bucket profile, I will do one thing, just I will create a 011. We will put all the same names so that easily we can remember. I will give all the same names so that easily we can remember. Server dot. Can you try to open the server in your system, Sandeep?
Actually, your screen
Okay.
stopped sharing. I think you have problem with internet connection.
Okay. Now
It's back again now.
Yeah.
You can try now.
Yeah. Actually, it might be the network is disconnected or something.
Yeah.
If it is slow also, sometimes it will be like automatically disconnected. So planning area, right click on the planning area, create the planning area. So here we are giving the name as ZAPO1 and storage bucket profile also ZAPO1. And here, if you want to maintain any default currency for this planning area, you can maintain the currency, statistical currency. Most of the projects normally will not consider the currency, but some of the projects they will consider the price, all those things also in the demand planning. But it's not required. If you maintain the currency, we need to maintain the exchange rate. This is also we will define the exchange rate so that system will call from there. Like how many euros per $1, like that everything we need to maintain predefined. And the unit of measure I will maintain as a PC. Like one unit of measure we are maintained to default unit of measure, and in the product master we can maintain the alternate unit of measure so that we can see by default it will show into the PCs, but by maintaining the alternate unit of measure it will convert into the different unit of measures also. Okay, Sandeep?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
good.
like, can you maintain multiple units of measures in one planning?
No. Here only one option. We have only one option. Here you cannot maintain multiple. Only one. It is a default unit of measure, but still you can like convert into the planning area, like interactive planning board. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Now you can see in the planning area, first information screen, like whatever we have defined, that will be showing in the information screen. And then next go to the key figures. Here also, like the same, like how we are selected in MPAS characteristic. Here we have to select the key figures. Here also the same rule, like whatever the 0A, these are the BW key figures, and whatever the 9A, these are the APO key figures, and the Z we can create ourselves also one key figure in RSA1. Here we need to select what are the really required for our the planning. Like normally if you see any project, we used to get around 30 to 40 key figures in the planning area, maximum 30 or 40. Again the same rule, if you maintain the more key figures, it will occupy the more database. And really what are the required, we have to maintain it here. Say for example, first how we are starting our planning by calling the history. So I will take the history key figure first. So based on the history only we are generating the forecast. So we will select as a history. And next one we will, based on the history, we will generate a forecast. I will select the forecast. Then this forecast we are comparing with the sales orders. Any difference is there? Sales orders. And after running the statistical forecast, if any sales or marketing team give the values, those I will add into the promotion key figure. And if any manual corrections in the consensus meeting, we will give a key figure so that whatever the manual corrections in the consensus meeting is nothing but like a finalizing the forecast. If they want to do any manual correction, we will give a key figure to do this. And finally, I want to calculate or finalize the total forecast, which will be released to the other systems. So like that we need to select what are the key figures are required for our planning. Here you can see, based on this history key figure, we will generate a statistical forecast. And the sales team or marketing team, whatever they give the values, we will enter here. And in the consensus meeting, if any corrections, we will enter here. And we will write a macro so that what it will do the system, forecast plus promotion plus manual correction is equal to total forecast. So this one we will release to SNP or ECC. Clear, Sandeep?
Yeah, this is clear.
Like that micro.
Like when we use sales order, we can compare the total forecasting, like the difference we can
Yes, yes,
create order or
yes, yes.
like production order or purchase.
Actually, we will compare the sales orders with the forecast. If sometimes the sales orders are more compared to the forecast, we will release the extra forecast to S&P system.
Yeah.
So that they will also do the, based on this sales orders, they will also increase the planning values. So instead of manufacturing 100, they will go for the 150. And if you go to the detail level, here you can see the symmetric. The symmetric is nothing but like a, we can say, the important question is what is the difference between the DP and what is the difference between the S&P orders. Normally everybody will ask a normal question. So DP is the time series data and S&P is the order series data. It means whatever the DP data will store in the live cache or planning area, it will be always like a quantity, like it will be like a store into the bucket. Say for example, this month how much forecast, like that we can see in the demand planning. But wherever in the S&P, you can see always like a with one order number.
Okay, current data.
Yeah. Say for example, next month forecast in the demand planning system, we can say December forecast is 1200 quantity, 1200 units. We can say like that only.
Yeah.
But S&P, if you double click on that value, it will represent one order.
Yeah.
Some order number it will represent it. Like that, whatever the data if you see in S&P, it will represent one order. But here, it will not represent any order, just it's like a one bucket order. Like it will show into the one bucket only.
Okay.
So that is the reason DP data we will call as a time series data and S&P data we will call as a order series data. So yeah, that one we can differentiate based on this symmetric values. So if we go to the symmetric, you can see 001 is the TS, time series quantity. But in S&P planning area, you can see as a 000, like a order series. LC means like a live cache quantity, like that is the order series data.
Okay.
So DP data is time series data and S&P is the order series data. Since S&P data will store with representing orders. Any quantity, if you see any quantity, it will represent one order number. Say for example, 5 lakhs 2,322 is order number. Like that, it will show some order number.
Yeah. So when creating like S&P planning book, we have to use 00 LC quantity.
Yeah, actually, normally we will not give manually. In MPAS, we are selecting, if you select the S&P, so automatically it will give as a symmetric value 000.
Okay.
Like in the MPAS, we have selected as a, here we have selected as a DP MPAS only. We have not selected as a S&P MPAS. So that is the reason when you are creating a planning area also, it will give all the DP features.
Okay.
But if you select as a S&P MPAS, your planning area will also, by default, it will have the all S&P features.
Okay.
And then InfoCube. So if you want to get any data directly from the InfoCube, we can define the InfoCube here. But normally this, we will not follow this process. We will get the data like a by standard program from InfoCube to planning area directly. This is InfoCube version and the key figure function. This is also S&P feature, like the key figure function it will give. Like there in S&P, we will store all the data into the categories. So that we will discuss detailedly in S&P time. So that time we will give the key figure functionality. So in S&P normally it is not a key figure, like we are not using the key figure functionality. We are using the categories. So based on the category, we will assign to the key figure, and we will give the key figure functionality. I think that will be, we will discuss more detail in SLP time. And there is other functions like how many decimal points you want to take, and do you want to allow the negative values or not, and zero values allowed or not. Like that, we have the other features here. And finally, the data will be stored into the live cache as a time series. Demand planning data will store into the live cache as a time series. Live cache is nothing but like our database server.
Yeah.
And the next
So,
one.
like, we don't give any info cube. Info cube that we don't use in this case.
Yes. Because if you do the info cube directly there, it will restrict to some activities in the interactive planning. So, for example, aggregated and disaggregated level, it will not go for the aggregation and disaggregation.
Okay.
And you cannot change any data also. So some of the APO functionalities have the limitation if you maintain that one. So that is the reason we will not follow that process. Just like we have the standard programs, we will extract the data.
Okay. Yeah, that's clear.
And then aggregation and disaggregation. Here two type of steps are there. One is the time-based disaggregation, and another one is the structural disaggregation. So time-based is nothing but like you have entered a data into the month level. So for example, for 1 month you have entered a 100 as a quantity. So if you see the data into the week level, so for example, for that particular month we have the 4 weeks. So every week it will show 25, 25, 25.
Okay.
So how it should be disaggregate, we can maintain the rules here. So as we discussed it, like a proportionally it will distribute or equally distribute. If you don't want, it will not distribute. And based on the other key figure, it will distribute. So like that.
We can add any kind of types of disaggregation over here. Okay.
Yeah, actually,
Any,
time.
Disaggregation kind of. Okay. Like only just basic.
Yeah, actually time series normally we will follow the same like a proportional allocation. But coming to the structural disaggregation, here we used to follow the based on the key figures. Say for example, I want to proportionally disaggregate, we can select the proportion data, and you can take the promotional value. So promotional value, if I want to enter into the brand level, in my brand, in the brand level, if you see, there is a 10 products are there. So 10 products forecast might be not equal. Like one like in the total of brand, 100. If you see at a brand level 100%, in the product detail level, one product have the 10%, one product have 2%, one product have the 5%, like that. Might be all are not equal.
Okay.
So if that time, if I want to base it on the forecast weightage, if I enter some promotion value, so it will also read the same detail level. So for example, for product A 10, product B 20, product C 30. So if I entered 60 in the brand level, so it should be distribute product A 10, product B 20, and product C 30. If you not maintain this based on the different key figures, otherwise what it will do, it will give 20, 20, 20. Like that we can maintain how it should be disaggregated. Otherwise, in the product B is 0, so it will give 30 product A and 30 product C. Like that we can have the different options, how exactly it is disaggregated. So this is again like another different topic, and it will take another complete one class. So we will discuss on this one later more detailedly. That will be covered under the proportional factors.
Okay.
In the proportional factors time, I will use a complete, it will take complete one session. So that time we will go to the detailed level of configuration, and we will see the results, and we will do the more practice on the proportional factors in the coming sessions.
Okay.
So as of now, just you can remember we have the time disaggregation and structural disaggregation. Time disaggregation normally 3 we will take, but this one based on the key figures it will be changed. It will not apply the same rule for all the key figures. It will change the different types. For a promotion, I will give it based on the other key figure and I will give the forecast key figure. So that how my forecast values are there, if you entered at high level data, for low level, it will refer the same forecast values and it will disaggregate. It will give the same weightage.
Okay.
This is the important topic in the demand planning, aggregation and disaggregation. Then locking logic. Locking logic is nothing but like a, for example, product A, location A, you are doing some changes. At the same time, if I am also wants to do the changes in the product A and the location A, like you are entering some value or you are correcting some values, like a forecast, you are you are entering some promotional values. In the same time, I am also wants to enter the promotional value. System will not allow me. It will give a message. Sandeep is locked this data.
Yeah.
So that is the advantage of this locking logic, like active live cache locking.
Okay.
So if you select this option, it will see the detail level CVCs, and if somebody is working on particular detail level of CVCs, it will not to allow the others to do the changes. Otherwise, if you are doing some changes, if I am doing some changes, system will conflict which changes should be referred.
Yeah.
So that is the reason we will give a option, like it will give a message and it will not allow you to do the changes. And there in the logs we can see who is locking and what is the CVCs they are locking. We can see the detailed information there also.
Yeah.
And SM12 one T code is there. There also we can see who are locking and what is the objects are locked.
Yeah.
So once I have completed this one, I will save this one. Now come out, go to your planning area. So now your planning area is red. It is not in active. So to activate this one, what we need to do? We need to create a time series. In MPath, for activate, right click and just like a activated. But coming to the planning area, we need to create a time series, then only it will be activated.
Okay.
And another thing, to create a time series, your MPath should have minimum 1 CVC value. So already we have created 3 CVCs, in 4 created, 1 deleted. So 3 CVCs are there in our MPath, so we can directly we can create the time series. But without any single CVC, you cannot create time series or you cannot activate the planning area. So select it, it will give the version. Like normally we have to take the version as a 000 standard version. Like in the APO, model and the version is concept is there. Model is nothing but like a master data and the version is nothing but like a transaction data.
Okay.
Anyway, in SNP time we will discuss detailedly model and version. And as SAP given the standard model and version as a 000, so we used to always use the standard model and version 000. And here I will give the start date and I will give the end date. So it means from when I need to start my planning, from when to when I want to do the planning. Say for example, what we are doing, like what we are planning here, like we want to refer 2 years of history data and we will generate a forecast for next 2 years. If some companies, they want to refer 3 years history data and they want to generate only for 1.5 years. So that time here, start date we need to take 36 months back date and the end date we need to take after the 18th month.
Okay.
So like that, how company is following their forecast process, we need to enter the dates here. Our example, we are referring 2 years of history and we are doing the statistical forecast for next 2 years. So here we are taking the 2 years of past and 2 years in the future.
like for start date, we have to give whenever we want to, like if we need for 4 years, we have to give 48 months back.
Exactly.
And like if we are only looking to forecast for 2 years, then we have to give 10 days in between, like 24 months.
Yes. And this dates should be below into the storage bucket dates, and whatever here you are giving, so this range, the data, it will be occupied the database server. This range, total this range it will occupy. So we should not give the more dates also here.
Okay.
And I will execute it here. Invalid date. Actually date format is the, I think, slash, or it will be month and I think month and as per the system date format we need to enter. I think month, day and year format or slash.
Because we have to use month years.
We can go to and we can see our own data, our user profile data. So here you can see the date format, date, month,
Date
year.
is month, year. So India format.
So we are also following the same thing. Date, month, year. Full stop only. Date, month, year. Okay, I think 31st is last date. We have given 31st night.
Okay.
Now it is activated.
Okay.
So once it is activated, like a live planning area, right click and go to the display and go to the extra and go to the consistency check and select the time series. So here we will give the version, and if you select the log, after completed this one, it will give the details log. And repair, if any inconsistency in the system, it will repair it. And lock entries. If anybody locked our planning area, it will show who is locked the planning area. And it will check the live cache anchor. It will check the connection between the database and the live cache. So by doing this one, if any inconsistency is there, system automatically will correct it. Like if you do any changes or if you add any new services, we need to run this consistency check. Anyway, it will take just 1 minute only.
Okay.
So
So
now,
when you say we're checking for inconsistencies, like inconsistencies in data?
yeah, sometimes like it will show, like for example, there is an issue in the ppm or something, so it will give, this will be have some problem like that. We can go to that one and we can change the like we have to correct it. Sometimes like for example yeah.
Is this called CCS or is CCR different?
No, that is entirely different. That is entirely different.
Okay. I actually once saw CCR in my problem.
Yeah, that is entirely different. CCR. That is the reconciliation report and comparing the data between the R3 and APO transaction rate. If any data is not moving, the report will give these are not moved into the APO or these are not moved into the R3, and this is the this data is inactive data, something. Every details it will give.
Okay, thank you.
And here another important question is here in the real time, how we will do the time series and what is the importance of this time series. If you deactivate this time series, automatically your total planning data will be gone. So for example, if you use the delete time series, total planning area data will be gone. So this is the sensitive, so never we should not delete the time series.
Okay.
And here you can see created time series. You can see here, so the planning version, model, and from here to here we have created this time series. So now I have created like a start date and end date, this one. Say for example, if I go to the next month and if I go to the next month, so the date should be not changed here. So if after 4 months, if we go here, it will be future bucket only 20 months and the past bucket is like a 30 months, something like that.
Okay.
Yes or no? Yes, sir. Understand on this, what I'm trying to say?
No, Karan, this is not clear.
Actually, now I have selected a 24 months past and a 24 months future, start date and end date.
Okay.
For example, after if I am not change, if we here if nothing is changing, after 5, if we go after 4 months, here it will show future bucket only like a 20 months, past bucket will show like a 28 months.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. That's clear.
So dynamically every month this date should be changed. So for that one we need a one program.
Okay. So every month it has to be changed.
Yeah, every month it will take a 24 months past, 24 months future dynamically. So by running one job, by scheduling one job background, so every month beginning like it will change automatically, it will change it. So that any point of time you can see 24 months past and 24 months future data.
Okay. Yeah. That is clear.
So for that one we have a program. Go to the SE template. After server refresh, like if any T code, if you first time if you give, it will show the compiling. Otherwise, normally it will take. Yeah, recently this is updated as a SCM7 server. Earlier it is 5, so it is 7. So some T codes still we have not used it, so it is showing like that. This is the program. /SAP APO TX PA plan P planning A area planning area initialization. Even if you don't know this program name also, like you can go to the TX star, like a PA star, you can give and you can go to the F4. So that here we can check like what is the initialization for the planning area.
Okay.
Like that also we can find out the programs. If you are not might be remember the program names also, we can go like that. So go to the execute. And here select our planning area, version 000, and from date, like I will give some date, but I will change in the variant and save as a variant. Go to the direct save option. It will save as a variant. I will save as a ZAPO1. ZAPO1. So here you can see start date and end date. Here we have the options like a select variable, dynamic or T, D and T. D is the dynamic and the T is the table variable from TVRVC. This is like a, for physical year periods we are using, and we are creating a Z program and we are updating the values. From there it will calculate the dates. I will show the difference now. If you go to the D here, and here it will show only the natural calendar, like a current date, current month, and beginning of the month and end of the month, first quarter, second quarter, like that it will show. But never ever it will not show physical year periods. So if you want to maintain as for the physical year periods, we need to take a T option, and we need to create a program and Z program to update the values into the table. From there we will call those numbers. If it is a natural month, I will give as a 24 and a 24. Here you can see beginning of month minus 24 months. If I give XX as a 24, it means from this month to it will take a past 24 months. End of the month plus 24 months. YY. So if I give 24, it means past 24 months and future 24 months it will take. So automatically every month it will past 24 months and future 24 months. So I have saved that one and come out and again execute, and now you can go to the variant. So whatever we have created the variant, we will see that one now. See, this is the variant we have created. So what we can do, this one we can execute in the background.
Again, one more question, like for can only one active planning version be there, or can multiple planning versions be active?
Yeah, actually we can use the multiple planning areas, multiple planning versions also. Like a active planning version, like whatever the real data you are doing, but like any simulation you want to do something, that we can do into the inactive planning version.
But unless you cancel a planning version from active, it won't get inactive, and it will only stay active.
No. Just I will show you. Just I will run this one immediately. Save it, and we can check in the /SM37. This is the job monitoring. So this is completed. Go to the log and go to the spool also. Anyway, background jobs also we have the different session again. So that time also we will talk on more on the background jobs. Do you know how to create a background job?
Clear.
Yes,
Background jobs program, I'm good to me.
Okay. Otherwise, for example, if I want to run every month this one, so I can create a background job. For example, go to the /SM36. Here, we can give the job name and go to the stub. So here, I will take this program name and variant we have created as a ZAPO1. So I will select the same variant. ZAPO1, and I will save it. And come out and save this one. And go to the start condition. I will schedule it. I will select the date and month 0/12/2011. 0 like 13 seconds. Just like it will start. If month is changing, then immediately it will change almost. And go to the period values. Here I will take month, so that every month this job will be run and it will update 24 months past and 24 months future for the time series.
Okay.
So I will save it. It is scheduled now. So if I want to see my scheduled job, SM37 and select the schedule and give the next month also. Yeah. If you execute, it will show the job. This is a scheduled job. So released job. Double click here. It will show. It will run monthly. Frequency is monthly, and the next run will start here. So next month, like January 1st, 2012, it will run. Like that, it will run. Yeah. Now, coming to your question, if I go to this planning area, so already my time series is there here. So I will create another time series with version 001. If I am not creating the same time series, if I am creating with a different option, like a 00 version, it will not impact to your existing version.
Okay.
If you give only your existing version, then only it will be impact. If you give different version, it will not give any impact. Now you can see. You have two type of planning versions, two type of time series here.
Yeah.
So whenever you are doing the planning, you can select whatever the version you want to do here. You want to do there. And there is a program to copy the data from one version to one version also.
Okay.
Anyway, whenever it is required, the differentiation of the versions, I will explain you. Like in the master forecast profile, we have to give the version. And when you are loading the data, we have to give the version. So that time I will explain you if we have the both different versions. So till this one, the planning area is completed. Then we will create a planning bucket profile. Now, I want to see the data in interactive planning monthly, or I want to see the data in interactive planning as a weekly. So for that one, we need to create a planning bucket profile. Like in the presentation, I have shown you one interactive table. This is the interactive planning table.
SDP 94.
Yeah, SDP 94. So here you can see the data is showing as a monthly. Month 11, month 12, month 1, month 2, like that. If I select the different data view, it will show only 4 weeks, like that. How I want to see the data in interactive planning, we will create a time series, we will create a time bucket profile, and those bucket profiles we need to assign into the data views. Anyway, next session will be next session will cover how to create a planning bucket and data views. There we have the option to give this time bucket profile. So before that, we will create a time bucket profile. Then we can go for the planning books and data views. So only the thing how you want to see, like it's like a defining your layout of the planning. How you want to see the planning, you can define into the time bucket profile. SAP, easy access, menu, APO, demand planning, environment, current setting, just like a about code of the periodicity, like a storage bucket profile. Here, so here I want to see the data for 24 months. So I will take as a 24 months. Like a total number 24, basic periodicity month, and display also month. Just you can give this one. So if you use the same bucket for the past, and if you use the same bucket for the future, then you can see 24 months past data and 24 months future data in the interactive planning table.
Okay.
I will save it. And again, I want to see the data into the weeks. So here I will give, like I want to see only 4 weeks. I will give 4 basic data, week, and display also I want to only week. I can save it. Now other options, for example here I am giving as a 24 months. Basic period is a month. Display also month. Again, first 2 months I want to see into the week. Like that also we have the options. Not only single bucket, we will have the combination also. And still first 1 week I want to see into the day. Also you can take T is a day. Like if you go here, it will show T as a day. Like that also we can use this bucket. And if you want to do based on the physical year variant, here we need to select the physical year variant. I will save this one also, the APO1 text. So that if you select this bucket, first 1 week it will show as a day, and remaining 2 months as a month, and the remaining will show into the monthly bucket. So if you want continue, we will take a break and we will complete the planning books and data views like master forecast profile. Otherwise, if you want to continue tomorrow, we will continue tomorrow.
We continue tomorrow.